I feel like there is a dark cloud being hovered over black people as of late, because I don't think there has been this this long string of death involving black people with notoriety like this ever. Like, I can't remember the last time something like this actually occurred, where many melanated people died pretty much almost all at one time. And it's scary what's going on right now. And when I found out about, B. Smith, I was like, I knew something just told me in the back of my mind that she was on her way out because of her Alzheimer's. Now, this is on a deeper level for me, because my grandmother, may God rest her soul, she passed back in 2008 from Alzheimer's disease. I remember when I got the text from my cousin, and I was in college at the time. I was in my I was in the first semester of my sophomore year of college, and I actually just started the semester. It was in August, I believe, of that year, or September, somewhere around that time. I had got a text from my cousin, and it was like, I heard about what happened to your grandmother, and I'm sorry. And in my mind was like playing tricks on me. Like, it's like I knew what they were telling me, but I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to like completely not believe what I heard. So what I did was I power walked back to my dorm room. My roommate was in there. I think he was watching TV or playing a game or something like that. And I immediately like laid on my bed, and I called my parents, and I said, I just got a text from so-and-so. Is it true? And in a very calm tone, my parents told me, yes, it is true that your grandmother that we got word that she passed away. And I think the thing that got me was how calm they were when they told me. And I think it's because they already knew hours before I did, but they didn't tell me, or they didn't want to tell me. And I had to find out by other means. I literally curled up into the fetal position and cried into that phone. And my roommate I think my roommate was having a discussion or a phone call or something like that. And all of a sudden it just got quiet. And out of respect for me, because he didn't ask me what was going on, he left the room. He said it must be, in his mind, something triggered him and said, this is something serious going on, and I don't need to be here to hear it. And I, to this day, can respect him for that. And I just literally, for an hour, I cried into that phone while talking to them. And like, I think it was almost like having a therapy session, and my parents had to calm me down while that was going on. But that was my favorite grandmother right there. And when I heard that she had passed, like I said, my mom was playing tricks with me. I didn't want to believe it. I knew that seeing her mind deteriorate over the years was hard. Anybody who has family members or know anybody who has Alzheimer's knows that it is a very rough situation, especially when this person has been known to have such a sharp, keen mind, and it's gone in the blink of an eye in stages and in phases, to the point where they don't even know their name, to the point where they can't even say full declarative sentences. It gets that deep. So whenever I hear about someone passing from Alzheimer's, I immediately think of my grandmother, and that hits a hard spot for me, because I know what she went through, because she had to end up leaving her home years ago to come and live with me and my family, because she couldn't live by herself anymore. That was in the beginning. She still had her mind a little bit, but it was like little bits and pieces starting to fade away. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of everything that happened in between, because I guess you can say it can get controversial, and I'm not going to put family business out on the internet, because that's none of your business. Just know that it was rough. But we have, we of course we had another choice but to deal with it now, because that was back in 2008, so we're talking like 12 years ago now. So her body is at rest, and that's the most important part. But anyway, I just wanted to get that part out there, for y'all to hear. That's one side of me that y'all never hear, me talking about family. But that's as far as it's going to go. So here we are to talk about B. Smith and her recent passing. And I'm going to go back to that dark cloud part that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and probably toward the end of the video. So I first learned about B. Smith when she had her cooking show on TV One years ago, when TV One first started out, when TV One first became a network, a channel. And she had a show on there where she would have different people on there. She would be cooking all of this amazing looking food that just looks so good. Like you just wanted to reach to the screen and just have a bite of whatever it is that she was cooking. But I always I'm trying to get her name right, with Janae Dubois. She too had a very nice smile, the one that could just light up a room. And then hearing that this woman used to be a model, and then I look at her face, I said, yeah, I can see how she was a model. She was a very beautiful woman, had a very nice aura to her. And anybody who has mothers or grandmothers knows about this woman. They would have to. I don't think it's a black woman of a certain age in the community that doesn't know who B. Smith is. Whether it was for her modeling, but especially for her, cooking, because they said she was a restaurateur, which means she owned some restaurants as well. She was an entrepreneur. I guess you can say she was like a pioneer woman or a Renaissance woman. She had her hands in a little bit of everything. But then, over the years, you didn't really see or hear from B. Smith anymore. And for years, I never knew why. I'm like, why did her show just get taken off the air like that? But then I think that's when they had announced that she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the thing is, Alzheimer's, there's no cure for that. Well, there's no known cure, let's put it like that, for Alzheimer's. So it's unfortunate. It's like I said, especially if you have to witness family go through that. But she went through Alzheimer's, and I wanted to use this picture in particular of her because they had some pictures of her online later in her life, like closer or more recent, and it literally took a toll on her physical appearance, to the point where she almost doesn't look recognized. Like if you put this picture up right here next to a picture of how she looked before she passed, it looks like two totally different people. Two completely different people. But it shows you what it can do to not only your mental health, but also your physical appearance. And that's just it's unfortunate. Like I said, whenever someone's dealing with Alzheimer's, anyone who's around them who has to care for them, they're going through it as well. It's a lot to deal with. It really is. You need a whole support team when it comes to dealing with someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia, which is another terminology for it. And it happens in phases. Like you have your early stages where it starts, they'll probably forget what they did last week or last month or even last year. Then you'll have another phase where they'll forget what they did yesterday. Then you have another phase where the person forgets what they did maybe 6 hours ago. And then in that final phase, you forget your name. You forget who your children are. If you have kids, who your friends are. You don't recognize faces. You can't complete, like I said, sentences. It's rough. It really is a rough patch. It's a lot to deal with when it comes to Alzheimer's. So I can only imagine what she had to go through when it comes to the Alzheimer's disease. I can only hope that I don't go through that when I get of a certain age, because I like remembering things. I like sharing memories. I like retaining memories. And to lose all of that and then you don't know why, it's scary. It really is scary. And Alzheimer's is a disease that really doesn't get addressed as much as it should, because it's not up there with cancer or various STDs like AIDS and HIV. But Alzheimer's definitely should get more addressed. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but like I said, talking about Alzheimer's, as you can see, is a deep topic for me. And I told you why in the beginning. But it's very unfortunate, what happened with this very talented, beautiful, business-minded woman. I think the last time we heard about B. Smith before her passing was the whole controversy with her husband. Now, to run back with that, basically what happened is, and this is when B. Smith was literally going through it. Like, I'm trying to think, when did it happen? I want to say it was it last year or the year before last? It was some controversy that happened with her husband. Well, I don't know if this man is still her husband or her ex-husband, but as far as I know, that's her husband. Was while B. Smith was going through the treatment, he was out with some other woman or dating some other woman while still married to B. Smith, and using B. Smith's resources, like the money that she made over the years, to basically cater and provide to this other woman. Like, it's almost like he was starting to lead another life with this woman. I'm like, if you want to lead a life with another woman, why do you not get divorced from your wife? And then I guess he tried to come out and say that he felt it would be disrespectful. I'm like, it's already disrespectful in the optics of it all, because you're in essence cheating on this woman who's practically almost on her deathbed. Like, it was a lot of it was controversy, but it wasn't as blown up as many would had hoped it would be. But I will say this, when I was reading through those articles involving that, I said, this dude is grimy as hell. And as far as I know, he's still her husband. I don't know if he's still with that woman, but yeah, that whole thing was just crazy. It's like you spending up this woman's money while she's sick, and you didn't even have the decency to even want to try to divorce her. It's like he did it to stay with her, because it's almost like he did it out of guilt. Like, I have to stay with her because that's what the vows said. But in the back of his mind, he's saying, I'm still a man and I have needs that need to be met. But you're using this woman's resources to fulfill your needs. So it almost reminds me of the whole situation with Sherry Shepherd's ex-husband. And we found out what he was all about. Like, he was basically a gold digger that was stealing from her. But, it's crazy how all of that just panned itself out. But I do, despite all of that, I do offer my condolences to her and her family and her loved ones and her friends and her associates and all of that good stuff. But one thing I wanted to also say when I was talking about that dark cloud situation, it's amazing how it's been a lot of melanated people who have been passing recently in droves. I mean, first you had Kobe Bryant and his daughter dying in that horrible helicopter crash. Then you had Janae Dubois pass. You had that other actress, I can't think of her name. She passed, I think, the day before she did. And then you had another actress the week before, another black actress who died the week before. Did I say the week before Janae Dubois? I meant to say the day before. If I didn't say the day before, that's what I meant to say. It was another actress. I forgot her name, but I've seen her in things before. She died the week before they did. And then you had the rapper Pop Smoke get killed in a home invasion. And now you have B. Smith passing away. All of this happened within a month's time. And most of the deaths happened during Black History Month. And every last person that I mentioned was black. That's crazy when you think about it. This is not some conspiracy theory or anything like that. It's just that, they always say death come in threes, but it's been coming in more than threes lately. And, it's just, it's wild. Like, the world the world has a wicked sense of humor. I always say that. The world has a very wicked sense of humor. But that's really all I have to say. I know most of the video was me talking about, the whole Alzheimer's thing, but like I said, this hits a sore spot for me whenever the topic of Alzheimer's comes up. But I just wanted to put that out there, like let y'all hear that side that y'all never heard before. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, rest in power to this woman. She was an inspiration to a lot of young women. A lot. Now, if you want to talk about someone who should be a role model, someone that a black woman that young women today should look up to, B. Smith would definitely be on that list. She doesn't get as much praise and credit as she deserves, in my honest opinion. But hopefully, and it's unfortunate that it took her death for this to happen, but hopefully some women out there take the time to read her books, or just read up on this woman, because she definitely made a lot of strides in her career. She wasn't just another pretty face. She she marketed herself. She branded herself, and it paid off for her. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. And I'll talk to you in the next one.